Salutations and greetings. Happy New Year to you. It is January 1st, 2025. And I wanted to say, I hope it is a prosperous and grand new year for all of you. And let's get some riding in. I am the proud owner of a Harley Davidson Lowrider ST 2024 that I affectionately named Overcast the Gray Stallion. She carried me from Savannah, Georgia to Phoenix, Arizona. My intention was to go to Cali, but I ended up staying with my mother in Phoenix after I saw her. I hadn't seen her in a while, and the baby boy in me came out, and I ended up hanging out with her for a period of time. And then I went back home to hang with my family for the Thanksgiving holiday as I was trying to make a cross-country trip, which was outstanding. The Lowrider ST did a great job. But today's conversation is not about the Lowrider ST. I don't really have anything bad to say about the Lowrider ST, but you know, there's some things that could be done better, and we'll come back to that later. It is a 2024, so I'm sure there'll be some changes going into 25 and so on. I just purchased a 2024 Indian Pursuit Dark Horse Icon. I think it's called Ghost Metallic White or something to that effect. But it's a white bike, as you can see right there, and it's beautiful. Unlike the Challenger Elites or the Elite models, you know, it doesn't have the painted on signatures. It has like the emblems painted on it. However, I like it, you know. I wouldn't have known the difference if someone hadn't told me. And I think I first saw it on Finesse the Challenger's YouTube channel. He's a big Indian rider, Indian Pursuit, or rather Indian motorcycle guy, period. And I think he's riding the Pursuit right now. And he pointed it out on one of his channel videos that they were actually painted on. And I never noticed that. So I thank you for the education, sir, as I learned this thing. I'm a new Harley rider and a new Indian rider. Some people ask me, how do I ride both? I usually say one at a time. Anyway, but not to be funny or anything. I ride them for different events, ride them for different things. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a touring bike, the Indian. And as I'm learning my way around motorcycles, the Lowrider is a sports touring bike that you can tour on. And I put it to the test. So someday I'm gonna put this Indian to the test and see what we can do with the mileage on that. I don't know if I have a preference yet. I really like a lot of things about Harley, and I like a lot of things about Indian. I think what I like the most, though, about Harley is the culture of Harley. I will say that it's two different unique vibes. When I go to a Harley dealership on the Lowrider, mostly everybody who's there, they know me anyway. I think because I buy a lot of junk and you know what I'm saying, things I don't really need, but I buy things that I like, right? And then when I go to Indian, even though I may start buying some new things, and I have purchased some items, I'm developing new relationships. I don't feel the same vibe like I do at the Harley yet. But again, I'm new. I've only had this thing a couple of weeks. A minute. The Indian Pursuit, the Dark Horse. Look, there are so many things to like about the Dark Horse. A lot of things. I'm gonna tell you just like this. This bike is more than I could ever expect. This is probably the best bike I've ever rode on in the sense of just comfortability. Now, my Lowrider is comfortable, don't get me wrong. I've set it up nice. I got a saddle and seat, forward extensions, highway pegs. You know, I've done really good, I think, on the setup. I got a heated seat. I do need to put some heated hand grips on that thing, though. Other than that, I feel comfortable on my Lowrider. If I was to take a ride today on a Lowrider, if I was to do a Harley event and they were to do 1,500, I would do 1,500 on my Indian Pursuit Casper. Actually, my wife named her. I just kept the name. It was dope. I was like, yeah, Casper. That's kind of fly. That's very hip hop-esque. You know, in thought. And my wife's definitely not of the hip hop era. You know what I'm saying? And so it's pretty fly that she would have thought to call this thing Casper. So I dig it, but we named it Casper, and that's what my license plate's gonna say when I finally have an opportunity to order that bad boy. But let's talk about the things I don't like. Like I said, there's not a lot. Indian could have done some things better, I thought, specifically for the amount of money that we're paying for the vehicle. By far, cheaper than an HD Road Glide that I would have bought from Harley. And I test drove a Road Glide, I test drove a Street Glide before I got on this bike. And I was ready to pull the trigger on that Road Glide. One of the things that kind of stopped me from doing that, buying the Road Glide, was, if I'm being honest, everybody around here has a Road Glide. It's like it took over the market down here. Harley marketing, tremendous. They're whatever they're doing, it's working for them. So I'm not about really looking like others all the time. And that's not to be funny or offensive. I just want to be different in my way. It's what I call peacocking, man. I want to be able to show my colors, you know what I'm saying? When I want to show them, the way I want to show them. But that's not the main reason why I bought it. I got on the Indian Pursuit, and let me tell you something. That ride, fantastic. The suspension, fantastic. That seat, fantastic. It's a heated seat on there. If I knew they had cooling and heating at the time, I would have ordered both. I did not know. I mean, I could always go back, but I don't know if I want to spend another $700. And I'm not sure if the cooling really is going to be all that effective in 100-degree weather, 95% humidity here in Savannah, Georgia. I'll have to find somebody who has one and maybe see if they'll let me test it out, and we'll go from there. But other than that, I love this bike. I discovered sports mode yesterday. I was like, hey, what is this for? Rain, standard, sport. I hit sport finally after a week and a half, 2 weeks of owning a bike, right? I was like, oh, that's what sport mode is. Total different ride. Very, I wouldn't want to say aggressive, but it's very, very commanding. You know, it commands the road. And I guess it could be aggressive depending on the way a person drives, right, or rides. It rides in a way that it kind of feels like it's driving itself, it's propelling itself. All I'm doing is just really coasting or steering the wheel, you know? I feel like it's doing all the work, which, you know, it is. It's a fantastic engine, fantastic power. Anytime I want to get away from vehicles or pass through traffic, not a problem. But like I was saying, I digress. We go back to what things I don't like. Immediately, what I don't like about my 2024 Pursuit, which I bought just a couple weeks ago here in December, right, was the chrome levers on the handlebars. I don't know if you're familiar, of course, but then they put chrome levers on the handles. It doesn't feel like that should be there on a dark horse. And I think that with all the designs and the features and the beauty they put into this bike, they could have invested some time in making sure those levers were black and dark like the engine and pipes in the plastic components on this vehicle. Like a huge thing, so I'm not gonna act like it's gonna deter me from riding it. It's not. I'm already looking and researching to see if I wanna even bother changing them. You know, I've looked and found some possibilities. The dealership here in Savannah, I even got those guys, Mike, one of the parts guys, and Travis, he's fantastic. And he was looking up parts for me one day, took my number down and said, I'll get back with you. We're gonna see if we can find some, because we couldn't find none through Indian. Another thing that bothered me was the fact that the vehicle has an antenna on it, on the tour pack. Don't know why. I mean, I get that, you know, you want to get good radio signal or whatever, but it was a long, it looked like a police antenna, to be honest with you, that you see on a motor unit. And I was like, I don't want that on my bike. So I did end up removing it. And I noticed that a couple of other folks who I know have the bike, they removed theirs as well. So I guess it's kind of a common thing. They took it off their bike. So I have a small antenna. I went up to Advance Auto, found me a little antenna kit, found the proper screw mounts, and I put one in there temporarily. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with it. It does look fairly good because it does go with the bike, and it's about this big. It's about that big. So I am happy with the fact that it's kind of out of the way, because when I was moving around in my garage, it was at one point I had kind of came in the garage and did a U-turn, and I was parked facing out, and I backed into something and kind of got snagged on something. I was like, man, this is not gonna work for me. So I got rid of that, right? So I don't like the antenna. So I was very fortunate in my deal with Indian Savannah, that I was able to get a backrest with my ride. And so there's really no complaints about my backrest, because it is fantastic. The seat is fantastic. Completely happy with my vehicle. Completely happy. One of the things I don't understand though is why the backrest does not match the seat. And what I mean is, there is diamond cut stitching in my seat, but I have a smooth backrest, a very smooth backrest. And I'm like, well, why didn't they just make the backrest like the seat? Now, when I ordered my Saddlemen with the heat core from the company, Saddlemen company, it came with a backrest, and I have the Explorer for the Lowrider ST, and it has the same style stitching design on the backrest. I'm very pleased with that. I mean, when you're spending that kind of money, you would hope that it would, be, I guess, visually appealing, right? So I don't like the smoothness of it, but I will tell you this, it feels great. It's comfortable. I mean, so it's one of those things that, okay, it's a smooth backrest. I'm just gonna have to get over that, right? Unless they make a new one, maybe I'll go get one if it really matters that much. It's not like people are gonna see it when I'm sitting on it, leaning back, riding, right? So I do like the seat, but the backrest kind of bothers me. One of the things that on my handlebars that kind of get on my nerves, I'm not really understanding why on the handlebars that they put the radio controller, the volume button rather, to control your Bluetooth phone and music and all that, right next to your signal. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times in the last week I accidentally hit the sound button or the signal button, rewound the song instead of using the signal to make the right turn, to get the right lane change or what have you. They're too close together. They're on the same handles, right next to each other with a thumb action. That does bother me. So I wish that in newer iterations, I hope in newer iterations of this vehicle, they consider maybe redesigning that or spacing it out differently so that the buttons aren't so close together. I mean, you got a man hands, it's gonna be one of those things where you're gonna hit it if you don't look at it, right? And I'm trying not to take my eyes. And I know it's about muscle memory and things of that nature, and that's what I've learned to do. I'm getting a little bit better at not hitting it because I'm remembering, the signal's up, the volume's low, control the music this way, blah, 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 right? I do appreciate that. Now, if they come up with a new version, maybe, separate from this handguard, maybe it'd be something I go order and just put on my bike if they come up with some new hand grips or controls that can be easily exchanged. Who knows? If this is just a motorcycle company thing, I don't know if this is a motorcycle company thing or is this something that's just maybe American motorcycle companies or subject to this. But when I ride my Indian or my Harley, I wondered why the controls are not lit. And then I see that there are some lit controls for different Harley Davidson models you could purchase after the fact. Well, that's a whole different story, a whole different conversation about having to purchase simple things that I feel should be provided on a bike. So that'll be one of my Harley talks. But when it comes to the Indian, this thing is pretty much fully loaded. And one of the things I would have liked to see, or maybe in newer iterations, they put controls that have lights on them. So I know that I'm not hitting at night, I'm not hitting the engine and turning it off by mistake, or I know where the horn is at, or the signal. And I know that's about memorizing, but I am a new rider. So it is what it is. I'm a new rider. I've never ridden the bagger before this year. I never rode a Harley Davidson before this year. So riding an Indian and a Harley for me is completely new, definitely foreign, and quite enjoyable. I love them both. There's no complaints in that area. I just want to be able to control it and make sure I'm safe doing it. And really for me, it's more of a safety conscious thing. Maybe I'm complaining about something that's small. You experienced riders may have a different opinion, so don't chop me up in the comments talking about shut up rookie and all that other stuff. I get it. But I do know that Harley has an aftermarket product. Well, not Harley themselves. I'm not sure who actually puts it out, but it goes on the Harley where the controls are lit, right? I'd like to see something similar for the Indian. I can't find any online, so if you know any, please go ahead and post it and let me know. I do read the comments. I don't get a lot, so it's easy for me to read them. So go ahead and let me know if you have an idea of a product that will make that light up for me. So one of the issues that I have is my Bluetooth connection is not connecting well with the Indian motorcycle. Works great with the HD for some reason, but not the Indian motorcycle. And to be perfectly fair, I do have an iPhone that I've treated like a hockey puck. I've been very careless with it. So it may be that it's got some internal issues or whatever. But what's funny is I have another phone that I use for business. And when I hook that up to play music and use Waze, had no problem hooking up to the system. I don't understand, it doesn't disconnect or anything. So I'm willing to bet it's my phone. But I also have not given Ride Command a fair chance. I've only had the bike for a week and a half, 2 weeks. I really need to tough it out and see how well Ride Command is. For $100 a year, I don't know if it's worth it, knowing that some of the same features that they offer, I can get for free through Waze. I mean, and I'm not sure, and I have to do a comparison. I really don't know what all Ride Command offers, but if it's just real-time traffic delays and alerts, listen, Waze does a fantastic job. No sponsorship to them. You know, big shout out to Waze. When I'm traveling cross country, when I'm going through state lines, whether it be in my car, ST, or pickup truck or my Indian, I promise you, I got Waze on, right? One of my family members put me on Waze some time ago, and it's been a fantastic product, right? So I don't have no issues with using Waze, but I do need to give Ride Command a fair chance because I've heard some great things about Ride Command. I don't know if it's equivalent, and if it is equivalent for $100 a year for an update, I'll stick with Waze. You know what I'm saying? Waze does a great job. Every once in a while, Waze will hit me up on the screen and it'll say, "Are you near a gas station?" Yep. You know, I'm paying enough for the bike and insurance. I don't feel like I should have to pay $100 extra a year for something I possibly can get for free. I don't know how much usage I'll get out of Ride Command. Just being all fairness to them. I don't know what they have fully to offer, so I have to play with it a bit. And if it is nice, I'll let you know. So far, it looks like the directionals work fairly well. I played around with that, and you're able to do fastest and shortest routes and stay off the highway, use surface streets. So I do like the fact that it has those manipulations, but I could do the same exact thing on a Waze app, and people report police. So I don't know. That would be the big seller for me. If there was something different that they did compared to what Waze does and reported the police, it'd be something I would be extremely interested in paying for. I have enough subscriptions, to be quite honest with you. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Indian or anything. So outside of those several little items that I've said, this is one of the best purchase I could have made for the end of the year going into 2025. I know it's a 24 bike. I bought it in December. I bought it with 20, maybe 10 or 20 miles on it. I'm already up to 800 in a week and a half. I'm trying to get to that 1901 so I can go get my box. There's a thing they do at Indian at 1901. I want to be a part of that. And, I'm going to ride this thing as much as I can. I did have a friend, and matter of fact, one of the sales associates told me, "Oh, you're never going to ride your HD the way once you start riding the Indian. Well, I'm here to tell you, I just rode my HD a couple days ago, a couple times. I don't have any plans of getting rid of my HD. HD does HD things. One, it brings me close to the community. Two, there's HD events that I want to show up for with an HD, not an Indian because it's HD. And then three, Indian bagger is not the same thing as a sports, HD sports touring. So 2 different bikes for 2 different rides that do 2 different things and have 2 different purposes. They're both fantastic. Those are my several dislikes of the Indian bagger that I purchased. But I'm gonna tell you just like this, would I do it again? Absolutely. Please like and subscribe. If you have an opportunity, throw some comments in there. Tell me what you think about the Indian Pursuit or if you think it was a good purchase, considering I was in the market for a bagger and I chose this over a Harley bagger. I think it was a great choice personally. One of my favorite features is that windshield. I'm sorry, Harley. You just got to do something better with that windshield. That windshield is fantastic. Like, subscribe, comment. Do me a favor. Remember to gas up and enjoy the ride.